Hey guys, how's it going? This is Tim from Our Life in Pixels, and today I want to talk to you about Scathe. Scathe is a small indie game from a studio called Damage State Ltd. Never heard of them before. Believe it's a small studio that's using Unreal Engine to make what feels in many ways like a love letter to Doom. And it has some things that it tries to do to kind of innovate on the formula. It's not necessarily your typical boomer shooter, although in many ways it does feel like that. You can tell right off from the aesthetic that this is a Doom-inspired game, right? With the demons and the runes and this is very clearly supposed to be a hellscape type scenario. So right off the bat, it has that. It looks good. Obviously, it's hard to make a bad-looking game in Unreal Engine unless you really don't know what you're doing. So they did awesome there. The game looks fantastic. There are some things, though, that it does differently that make it unique that I do want to address before we kind of get into whether or not this is a game that I would recommend. I will have a link for their Steam page down below if you want to wish list it. We don't have any kind of early access to this game. We don't have any sort of relationship with the devs, nothing like that. We just played the demo during Steam Next Fest and wanted to kind of present the game in that form to you guys. This is the demo. I don't know that this is representative or even nearly representative to what the game will look like on release. So there's that caveat as well. This is an indie game demo, so we don't know much more about it than anybody else. There are some things that it tries to do differently, though, and I did, like I said, want to address that in this video. So first things first is this game has a emphasis on co-op. I didn't try co-op in the demo. I don't know if co-op is available at this time or anything like that, but that does make it different than, say, Doom, where Doom has its multiplayer aspect for sure, but other than the level editor, you're not really co-oping Doom. There's no co-op campaign, nothing like that. It does also have what it describes as non-linear gameplay, which I've heard, particularly with like roguelikes. This, I don't think, is a roguelike. It's very much level-based. If I were to die on this level, I go back to the beginning of the level, but I don't think if you die on level 2, you go back to level 1. There is only one level available at this time, but from my understanding and how they've kind of talked about things, it sounds like the way the game's laid out is a maze. And you go through the maze with your friends or by yourself, and you're beating each level, but there are different paths you can take that lead to a different next level, which might have different enemies, different weapons. I don't know how long this game is, how many levels there are, how much variance there is, but that's kind of a cool concept, and could easily, like, even if you just do a game, maybe the gameplay loop is 5 levels, but each of those 5 levels has 2 different endings. Well, now you're doing 5 times 2 times 2. So, like, you just keep going, and it can lead to a lot of different outcomes for the game. So that could be really, really cool and unique. Not something that you get to experience in the demo. After you beat this first level, it just kind of ends. It shows some preview clips for gameplay. I hope that the gameplay here looks as good to you as it looks to me, because it looks awesome. But that's kind of where the positives for me end, because I hate to say this. This is a small indie studio, and it's not like I think they made a bad game. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It looks cool. The music is cool. It doesn't feel quite right. I feel like I mean, this is Doom influence here, right? But like, I feel like I should be listening to Driving Death Metal. Like, I feel like I need Mick Gordon's guitar riffs, and that is sorely lacking here. And I mean, yeah, you're not necessarily going to get somebody to play the guitar through an indie game like you're going to get Mick Gordon, but something similar would have been appreciated. Instead, the beat in the background kind of gives me like Viking vibes, which is weird, but I like it. I just don't know that I like it for this game. On top of that, it's... I don't know that this comes across in the video, because I'm watching the gunplay back as I record this, and it looks good, but it doesn't feel good. What do I mean by that? I'm playing mouse and keyboards. We're not talking about any sort of haptic feedback, nothing like that. Just the way the guns shoot. There's no... Your gun shakes, but there's not actually any recoil. It felt like I was shooting even demons that felt like they should die pretty quickly with basically a pea shooter at times, unless I used like the rocket launcher attachment. So that wasn't great. The aim feels off. I never felt like I was hitting where I wanted it. It felt like it was weird because it didn't look like any of my bullets were offline, but it didn't feel like anything was hitting. And even though they give you that little red X hit indicator, I didn't interpret it as accurate. It just felt weird. I only got to try this one gun. It's the only one that there is in the demo. Maybe there are other guns. Maybe they improve that as it goes on. Not really sure. But my biggest takeaway from this is that the game felt like, you know, Mom, I want Doom. We have Doom at home. Doom at home. It's not a bad game. Like, look at this. It looks really cool. The sound effects are really cool. They got some... Okay, this guy doesn't look that great. King Sledge doesn't look all that cool. But there are a lot of things about this game that I think it has going for it, and I hope to revisit this in the future and to be wrong. But this game just feels really generic to me, and I think that's too bad, because I think there's a lot of potential for some cool things that it could do in the future, and I hope that this team runs with this idea. I hope that I'm wrong and that it's phenomenal. Again, links down below if you want to check it out. I wasn't all that into it, but it's not a bad game. It's just Doom at home. Alright, thanks guys.